Well, my name is Steve Salzman. I have a 1947 Willys CJ-2A. It's a Jeep that I bought when I was in college, and I drove the Jeep around and enjoyed it when I was in school. But then as I went on with other experiences working and career, I left the Jeep parked in my dad's barn up in Illinois, so it sat there for at least 35 years. And I had intended to do some work on it over the years, but I never had the combination of the time, the money, and the space to actually work on it until I recently retired. So now I've actually started this project, and it's turned into it's probably turned into a bigger project than I thought it was going to be. The first problem we ran into was that I found that the engine block was cracked, so I had to make a decision there whether we were going to try and repair that engine block or get a replacement, and I ended up finding another engine that had been in a signal core generator. They had, in the 50s, the Signal Corps bought several large electrical generators and used the same engine from the Willys in that generator, and there's several of those available. I found 3 or 4 places I could get those now, so there's a supply of those right now. I'm not sure how long those are going to last, but that's what I ended up putting in here, is one of those engines, which is the same. It's the same casting number. It's exactly the same engine. From there, it's a matter of going through the entire process and seeing what it needs. Everything on here is, at least 60 years old, and everything is rusted, and trying to get the parts apart is some of the problem. Trying to get the pieces apart. They're rusted. The bolts are rusted. The pieces are broken. So it's been an experience, because every time you go into something, it's not simply a matter of taking off the old part. It's a matter of getting the rust off, getting the piece, finding the piece. Sometimes the parts have been adapted afterwards. Different parts have been added. These were working, when they were newer, they were working vehicles. They weren't really recreational vehicles. People used them a lot, and they were covered with mud and covered with rust, and they really weren't really well taken care of necessarily when they were new. So they got used a lot, they got used hard, and they got worked very hard. So when you do find them, a lot of times they've been kind of beat up. Some of the things on here, you can see it's been dented and it's been cut and holes are into it, and some of them have been modified quite a bit. So you're never really quite sure what you're going to find. It's like working on an old house. When you get into something, you take things apart. What's hidden underneath the paint and the wallpaper is anybody's guess. So that's always a challenge too. Of course, the problem with all of that is every time you run into a problem, it takes more time and it takes more money. And that's been the challenge too, is how much time and effort are you going to put into it? A lot of times what you do is you decide that I've got this much money to spend, and when we get to there, we stop. So, and then you work it out from there. But it's been an interesting experience. I've enjoyed it. It's something I've never done before. I was in an administrative position in my career, so this is completely different from anything I've ever done, and it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed the whole process, and I've learned a lot from the whole experience.